Our skin is the mirror of our soul. Our skin is our largest sensory organ. Our skin needs a healthy microbiome balance. This is regulated by its pH value, which protects the skin from pathogens, cold and ultraviolet rays. Sebamed protects your skin.
Good health is a journey, not a destination. Good evening, dear friends. Welcome to BMC Global Live Al Hilal Health World, nothing but lifestyle. Today we will be discussing about the impact of diabetes on the health of our eyes. Diabetes, as you know, leads to serious complications of various organs of our body, including the eyes. And diabetic retinopathy is a major cause for the vision loss in adults worldwide. To throw more light to the topic, we have with us Dr. Sajana from Al Hilal Hospital, Manama Central. So, Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure, Doctor. So, Doctor, today our topic is diabetic retinopathy. So, can you explain about it in detail for us?
Yeah, basically diabetic retinopathy means it's affecting the retina of the eye due to high blood sugar levels. So the retina, as you know, retina is the innermost layer of the eye, which can only be seen through the pupil with a special lens, and it is a highly vascular organ, which means it has a lot of blood vessels in it. And what happens is when the blood sugar level gets high, all these blood vessels, mainly arteries, veins, especially the capillary, the smaller vessels will get blocked, they get damaged, and it will cause leakage to the surrounding tissue, that is to the retina. And when this happens, there is a block of the blood flow to the concerned organ, which in this case is retina, and various other, all these bleeding and new blood vessels formation, all the other complications of diabetic retinopathy occurs like that.
And Doctor, who all are at risk of developing diabetic retinopathy?
The diabetic retinopathy risk is mainly because due to those patients who have uncontrolled diabetes for a longer duration period, that is around 25 to 30 years. Many of the peoples will have diabetes of longer duration. Those people are at high risk. And also the other group is those who have coexisting other comorbidities like hypertension or hypercholesterolemia. All these people are at high risk of developing diabetic retinopathy.
Doctor, if a person develops diabetic retinopathy, is this condition reversible?
It's as a matter of fact, once the blood sugar level gets that much high for a longer duration, and once the retina gets affected, which is the first sign of diabetic retinopathy, will be seeing small dots of hemorrhages all across the retina. Once we reach that stage, it is very difficult to revert it back, but yeah, we can control it and we can halt it to a certain extent with the strict control of blood sugar and all other comorbidities.
And another common query is this condition preventable?
Preventable, well, I will not say it is preventable as such, but once a person is diagnosed with diabetes, we should take a close monitoring of his blood glucose levels. especially HB, hemoglobin A1C level, which is the last 3 months control, which shows the last 3 months blood sugar control of the patient. That should be less than 6.5 to, that is the ideal value. And if it is more than that, and if the blood sugar levels is continuously increased uncontrolled, if the patient is not taking medications properly, it will progress. On the other hand, if we control it with diet, strict diet modifications, regular exercises and all, we can prevent the progression, and even we can actually halt the progression for at least 20 to 30 years. We can prevent it, the progression, and if at all they develop the disease or they develop the diabetic retinopathy, it will be a milder form. Then I should say there are different types of diabetic retinopathy, which is mild. One type is mild, which is non-proliferative diabetic retinopathy, and the other type is a little severe, which is proliferative, which will cause bleeding. And when that condition reaches, a normal person who can see 6/6 vision can go to blind, can become blind within less than a year. So all depends upon the strict control of the blood sugar.
Now, can you explain the signs and symptoms of diabetic retinopathy?
The signs and symptoms as such, the diabetes retinopathy in the initial stages, it actually depends on the stage of diabetic retinopathy. Then, as I told, there are different stages and levels of diabetic retinopathy. The mild to moderate type of diabetic retinopathy, which is the non-proliferative type, will not have much visual symptoms. But when we check them, when we do the retina examination in them, they might have a few hemorrhages, dark small dots all over the retina. And when we find out that, the patient will not be aware of all these changes happening inside his eye. Once that the changes has happened, then we ask them to strictly control the fasting sugar less than 300, or maybe it's more than 300, or it goes up and down. Even that is also very risky thing. We should strictly keep the HbA1c level less than 6.5 and the FBS, all these fasting and postprandial blood sugar levels less than 200, preferably we should keep it. So and that is for the mild diabetic retinopathy, only a little visual changes will be there. Whereas in case of proliferative, which is a severe type of diabetic retinopathy, this will cause bleeding inside the eye, and it will cause sudden loss of vision for the patient. The patient will go blind, and there will also one more presentation is it will cause a sudden increase in eye pressure, glaucoma. Even that is also there, and when that happens, it is really difficult to control and get the eyesight back. And let's hope that people don't go to that stage, so that we should need to intervene, and that is a very difficult thing to happen. So to prevent all this, in a nutshell, the blood sugar has to be under control.
Okay. Now you mentioned about the symptoms. So doctor, how long does it take this condition to progress?
The progression usually depends upon the HbA1c level and the FBS, that is a fasting blood sugar level. And once if a patient is strictly under control, if he controls his diet, he does regular exercise, there is significant weight loss, and blood sugar is he keeps monitoring his blood sugar level, then this will not, for we can say up to 25 to 30 years, it will not progress. It may remain like that. Sometimes the patient will not even have diabetic retinopathy, no visual symptoms also. Whereas in case of uncontrolled diabetes, this will take like a person who has normal vision will start having defective vision. All the floaters, black spots, they start seeing in front of the eye, all these, and may lead to profound visual loss in less than a year.
So doctor, what are the treatment options for diabetic retinopathy?
Treatment options for the mild to moderate diabetic retinopathy, which I told earlier, is blood sugar control with either insulin or oral hypoglycemic drugs. And once the diabetic retinopathy has developed for some patients, which when we see in the OPD, they come for diabetic retinopathy annual checkup, and we find out they might have already controlling, but they've developed, means some small spots of hemorrhages will be seen, which patient will be unaware, they'll not have any symptoms. So at that time we'll ask them to strictly, if their blood sugar level is 200, means we should reduce that, even from that to 140, BPBS less than 140, for fasting blood sugar less than 110, and the HbA1c level, everything they should keep in a close monitor, and the progression will not continue much. And for those people only, for mild to moderate diabetic retinopathy, the treatment option is only the blood sugar level control. And in case of severe form, the proliferative diabetic retinopathy, once the bleed has occurred, we can actually do laser treatment. We put small laser burns in the retina where there are new vessels. We burn the new vessels and we make it avascular, means no blood vessels there, so that further no damage will occur. And one more option is surgery. We take out the bleed which has happened inside the gel of the eye. We take out that bleed. The surgeon needs to get into the eye and take out the gel and that bleed. And then one more option is we can directly inject the certain intravitreal, that is inside the eye, we inject eye injections, and that will be more effective for macular edema. Macula, as you know, macula is the most important part of the eye, which controls the central vision, and in diabetes, macula is in a very more prone to danger, and they'll get more damaged. The macula will get more damaged in diabetes. So in case of macular edema, we'll do all the injections inside the eye, and we can do laser burns also.
Doctor, now can you explain about the diabetes in children, and how does diabetes affect their vision?
Yeah. In case of children who are diagnosed with diabetes, nowadays type 1 and type 2 both are diagnosed in kids, and for them the main control, it should be aggressive blood sugar control, like dietary modifications, lifestyle changes. There should be significant weight loss for the child, and for type 1 diabetes, they need insulin pumps may be needed, regular continuous monitoring of blood sugar should be done for kids. And making the kids responsible for the blood sugar control will make them more aware of the consequences which they can face with the higher blood sugar level. Not even in the eyes, or the whole body will be affected with diabetes. So if the blood sugar level is not getting controlled for juvenile diabetes and all, the kids will develop diabetic retinopathy and profound visual loss by early 20s, early 30s. We have to make them understand the situation, and we should do all the lifestyle changes for them. All the treatment options as for the adults are also applicable to the kids also.
Doctor, can you give us some tips regarding diabetic retinopathy, how to prevent diabetic retinopathy?
Tips, I would say, once you are diagnosed with diabetes, or if you are in high risk of developing diabetes, like your parents will be diabetic, your close relatives will be diabetic, in that cases you should always, a periodic checkup for blood sugar level should be done. And once you are diagnosed with diabetes, annual examination with a competent ophthalmologist should be done. And we are always welcoming the diabetic patients, because it's a large part of what we do actually daily. And the ophthalmologist will put eye drops, will dilate and do the fundus, that is the retina examination, and that should be done systematically. Plus strict blood sugar control and lifestyle changes should be there. All the dietary regulations, all these things should be done.
And doctor, what is your takeaway message for our viewers?
The takeaway message will be, like, once you are diagnosed with diabetes, we cannot prevent the diabetic retinopathy, but we can always delay the development of diabetic retinopathy by strict blood sugar control, that is by taking the medications as per the instructions of your physician, and to go to an ophthalmologist checkup annually. At least once in a year you have to go for the checkup. And if at all there is any change, means the ophthalmologist will tell you how often you should come according to the stage of the diabetic retinopathy. And mainly the diabetes is a lifestyle disease, and in that case lifestyle changes has to be brought about, which is like lowering all these carbs intake should be reduced. Nowadays all these diet programs, everything is there, so you can strictly follow all those, and with strict blood sugar control we can prevent the progression of diabetic retinopathy and prevent profound visual loss in diabetic patients. Thank you.
And doctor, what do you have to say about Al Hilal Healthcare?
As you all know, Al Hilal Healthcare is the fastest growing healthcare in Bahrain, and I am glad to be a part of Al Hilal. And I am available in the Al Hilal Manama Central branch.
So viewers, I hope this was a very informative episode. For more informative episodes, tune into BMC Global Live Al Hilal Health World every Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Till we meet again with a new topic and a new doctor next time, this is Jasila Mujib signing off. Good night.
Let your child shine with creativity, confidence, and a whole lot of fun.
iMac Cochin Kalabhavan is back with Summer Class 2025, a perfect mix of learning and enjoyment.
From cinematic dance, classical dance, vocal music, instrumental music, to art and craft, drawing and painting, and martial arts, we have got something for every young talent.
That's not all. We have lined up fun activities like field trips, movie time, yoga, games, thrilling competitions, and much more to keep the excitement going.
Worried about transport? We've got it covered.
And for the grand finale, every child's performances will be live streamed on BMC Global Live.
And guess what? All this at an affordable fee so that every child gets a chance.
Admissions are open now, and here's the best part. First 50 admissions get the registration fee for free.
So hurry up, call the number shown on the screen now to give your child a summer full of joy, creativity, and new friendships.
Our skin is the mirror of our soul. Our skin is our largest sensory organ. Our skin needs a healthy microbiome balance. This is regulated by its pH value, which protects the skin from pathogens, cold and ultraviolet rays. Sebamed protects your skin.